Hi, this is Joe again with another review, and instead of doing a typical movie review or show review, today I'm going to be doing a topic that's been affecting everybody for the last almost 24 hours as I'm doing this video. And then I guess maybe since the video quality is not that great for this video, I think it's apropos, because it's been less than 24 hours after the news came out that Robin Williams had committed suicide. So I figured that since, I'm doing this less than 24 hours after he had died, so I figured maybe I never really thought about doing a review of Robin Williams movies, but I figured what the hell, since he died, I could more like a tribute to him. For those of you who don't know, because I literally grew up with watching Robin Williams either on television or through all his various movies that he's done over almost 30 years, close to 40 years actually. So I literally grew up with him, and of course, since a guy who you literally grew up with, I actually saw it from start to finish. It is kind of emotional considering everything else that's going on in the world. A lot of people are focusing on what happened with Robin Williams. Like me, like people of my generation grew up watching Robin Williams on television, because he did star, or he was a stand-up comedian for a little bit. He was doing stand-up comedy acts at the Improv in California, but he really got well known. Excuse me. He really got well known for doing a one episode appearance, and that time was one episode appearance on a little television show that called Happy Days, which I previously did a review on the first season of Happy Days. That's when his character was introduced, or his most well-known character on television anyway, playing Mark from Mark. And originally it was supposed to be like a one episode deal, and he was so good in that role. He did a lot of improv, which he was most famous on, not only in his role as Mark and his own television show Mork and Mindy, but also he does a lot of his movies as well. Like I said, he was so good in that role, and the audience, actually, Happy Days at that time was filming the film studio audience, so the audience was roaring with laughter at all the stuff that he was doing. So he figured, hey, he did a lot of physical comedy. He spoke in a funny voice with say crazy words and expressions all the time. So Gary Marshall created Happy Days, decided to create a show for Robin Williams and his personality, and that became, of course, Mork and Mindy. Of course, later on in the series, he worked with his mentor, Jonathan Winters. And the sad part of it is both Jonathan Winters and Robin Williams both suffered from depression for years. But the only difference is that Jonathan Winters did not commit suicide like Robin Williams did. But he did have alcohol problems, and he was on the medication for depression. Or Jonathan Winters was. But after 4 years of doing Mork and Mindy, he went into film. As a matter of fact, that's when Mork and Mindy was still on the air, or was originally airing. He did his first real big movie, which I happened to see, which unfortunately is the only Robin Williams movie they actually physically went to see, and that was Popeye. He played, of course, a title character. He did play Popeye the Sailman, and unfortunately the movie got panned pretty badly by the critics, and they're going to make a musical out of it, and it was a pretty like a dark movie. In terms of it did have a lot of dark elements in it. I mean, in terms of it was filmed pretty dark, and Robin Williams was good in the role, but unfortunately the movie was a bust. Unfortunately, his first real big role in movies would turn out to be a bust. But when Mork and Mindy was ending, he starred in The World According to Garp. Then he starred in Moscow on the Hudson, and I think Fisher King came out like in the early '90s. But his first really big, and I think the movies weren't good or successful, but his first really big, really dramatic role, but also a comedic role as well, it's like a drama comedy, was when he played a real life person, Adrian Cornauer, in Good Morning Vietnam. And I happened to see that film, and I thought that was all the films he did. I think that's definitely one of the better films he did. My two favorite Robert Williams films happens to be Good Morning Vietnam and Mrs. Doubtfire. This was my two favorite Robert Williams films, because he was so good in Good Morning Vietnam. Like I said, he played a real life DJ in the military, Adrian Cornauer, and he worked with Bruno Kirby, who was since died of a heart attack, and Forrest Whitaker was a young Forrest Whitaker. I think that might have been Forrest Whitaker's first movie role, because he was on television in the North and South television series, which I previously reviewed. And so he worked, and practically everything that Robert Williams did in that film was improv. Every line that came out of his mouth was improv. Of what I heard, because I saw like a documentary on it, and a review of Siskel and Ebert did of that movie, and everything he did was improv. And he got his first Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. Then of course the next big movie was he did Dead Poets Society, which was another. That was a straight out dramatic role. Unlike Good Morning Vietnam, which he did have some funny comedic moments, especially the stuff that he was doing on the air. Especially when he was making fun of the town Da Nang, like Viva Da Nang. It was doing that was an impersonation of it, and when he was entertaining the troops. His Forrest Whitaker took him to a spot where they're transporting troops to the front lines, and he was entertaining, making jokes, with the troops, making fun of the names, of where they were from, or what they spoke with an accent. All that stuff was like improv. All the stuff he did with the troops in that movie. So when he did Dead Poets Society, it was a straight out dramatic role, and I haven't really seen that film, so I can't really go into much detail of it. But then in the early '90s, he did a movie that I actually went to see, actually. Because Steven Spielberg, I think this was the only movie that he did that was directed by Spielberg, and it was called Hook. Those of you know, that is the one where what if Peter Pan grew up? Because Peter Pan is one of the most famous children's stories of all time, and it was done religiously on Broadway. It was like every year. They made Lauren played the part, and Sandy Duncan, and most recently is Kathy Rigby. But this time we had an adult man. They never had been one or whomever. This had to be Robert Williams, playing grown up Peter Pan, which I thought was a great concept. I didn't think, I had a lot of problems with that movie, but I think it was disturbing in a lot of ways, especially with the Lost Boys and all that type of thing. But again, he did a great. Robert Williams did a great performance in that film. The one thing that I really like is I really like Robert Williams' performances in these films, because especially for movies like Hook and Good Morning Vietnam in particular, he did a great job in combining dramatic scenes along with the comedy. But in the Hook, he didn't do all that much comedy, more like dramatic roles for most of the film. And then once in a while, when he got into the confrontation with Captain Hook, who was played by Dustin Hoffman in the film, then he got to a little more comedic. Part of his personality came out when he was doing all that, because he was having fun doing the swashbuckling and flying with Hook. Then of course in '93, it was 1993. This when Mrs. Doubtfire came out, and even though previously I did a video of cross-dressing movies, it was one of the most, at the time, for a long time, it was one of my highest viewed videos until Murder Small Town X took it over and The Natural took past that. But I've just focused on 3 particular films that came out roughly within a year of each other. And I didn't discuss Mrs. Doubtfire, which I kind of glanced over that because I just want to focus on those 3 films. Mrs. Doubtfire was, for a long time, we did not have a good cross-dressing film as a plot point until Mrs. Doubtfire came along, and that was definitely one of the best performances that Robin Williams gave. But you could tell, unlike in Dustin Hoffman and Tootsie, but you couldn't tell that was Dustin Hoffman in dress because of the makeup they used for Dustin Hoffman. But in Mrs. Doubtfire, you could tell that was Robin Williams because of his facial expressions. And I think they may have done a similar makeup job, but they did use prosthetics on Robin Williams, but you could tell more that was Robin Williams in Mrs. Doubtfire than Dustin Hoffman and Tootsie. Okay, those 2 films. And he did a terrific job. The only reason why he was made up as a woman or an English or British nanny was because he was barred for seeing his kids because he was getting a divorce from his wife, who was played by Sally Field. And he wanted to see his kids more, and so the only way to see his kids is to pretend to be a nanny. And of course, also in this film, you had Pierce Brosnan before he started playing James Bond. Was in this film, and one of the few times that Pierce Brosnan did a comedic role in the movies. Then, of course, he did. Forgot what other films he did between then and the movie he actually won the Academy Award for, which was Good Will Hunting. He played a psychiatrist in that film, and he did a great. I mean, I remember I saw that movie. I only saw it maybe like once, and I went into that because I want to see how good it is. And that was Robin Williams' Academy Award winning performance, so I wanted to see that. So he did a damn good job, and it was also another straight out movie role, which is kind of weird to see Robin Williams do a script because he is so serious, and in some cases, so serious it's almost like creepy. The way he would do the serious roles, because what I heard that what Williams was doing when he gets cast in a dramatic role, when the cameras are rolling, actually he does his part, he does the performance, he does his lines, he does the scenes. When the director goes cut between takes, he's like cracking jokes all over the place to make up for the fact that he has to act dramatically in these scenes, which is kind of weird. Maybe because of his personality, maybe because to make up for the fact that he has to be in a dramatic role for 10-12 hours a day, and so to make up for it, he does crack jokes or he does some of his funny voices or whatever when he is not filming. But then of course he went back to do a creepy role in one of the last movies that I saw him in, when I bothered to watch, and that was 1 Hour Photo. He played like a 1 hour photo clerk in a drugstore, like a Walgreens or a Rite Aid, and he got obsessed with a particular woman's family because she takes a lot of photographs. Of course, by the time they did the movie 1 Hour Photo, digital photography was going to become a fad and become a thing. So these 1 hour photo places are starting to go out of business now because of digital photography. You can do it on your own computer, and then you print out prints you want. I have to be bothered going to a pharmacy or an actual photo lab to have your film developed. That's going to be a professional photographer like I am, and you have to go to these places. If you're shooting in 35mm film, you have to go to these places because the pharmacies don't hardly do it anymore because of the A, the expense, but B, most people are shooting in digital now. But he pretty much stalks his whole family in the movie 1 Hour Photo, and it's really creepy going. And he dies to see anything. Dying to see a blonde or a wig, or blonde wig for this character. He wore glasses like I am. He has hair short like I have my hair short now. So he did that role. And of course he also did other roles like Patch Adams. I think he did that one in like in 95 or 96. He did Patch Adams, and he thought he did a damn good job. I thought he should have won an Academy Award for that performance. And not only in that movie, but also in Good Morning Vietnam. I thought he should have won an Academy Award for it. I don't know why he didn't win one for Good Morning Vietnam or Patch Adams, but he deserved to at least get recognized for it, because at least recognized at the time, because he played a guy who suffered a nervous breakdown, and after he got out of a mental institution, he decided to go. He wanted to help people. So, and he was a little old to go into medical school, but he decided to go into medical school, and he became a doctor. And he realized that laughter, humor, will help ease these dying patients, because he dealt with a lot of patients who were dying of cancer, like little kids, and even adults. So he would make them laugh. He would put on like a rubber nose, or he would do funny voices. He would put like fake glasses on and do all the kind of funny antics just to get these kids to laugh, to make that pain, to ease that pain a little bit through humor, or through his brand of humor. And he got into trouble for it. And he did play in Patch Adams. He did play like a real-life person in Patch Adams as well as Good Morning Vietnam. But you know, for the time, he didn't make a he didn't get recognized as I thought he would for that role. He also did a lot of voice work. With his talent, I'm surprised he didn't do as much voice work as he should have. And of course, the most famous voice acting role was he played the genie in Disney's 1992 film Aladdin, and he was like a way over the top genie in that film, and he did a great job. I thought he did a terrific job in that film. Even though it was voice, but what Disney has a habit of doing, especially in the late 70s, late to mid 80s and early 90s, was they would take the face of the person. As soon as the person gets hired to do a voice, to provide the voice of a character, they would take the face and try to make it like a caricature of the face in that character that they're portraying. Like Jerry Orbach in Beauty and the Beast, they took his face, because he was the voice of the Candlestick. And Johnny Benson, who provided the voice of the Little Mermaid, they took her face and put her face on the Little Mermaid, for example. That's what they did with Robert Williams' face. They made his face like a character of the genie in a man. So he did. And I think he also did the third film of that series, which was a direct-to-video. After the first film, they made like 2 direct-to-video sequels of Aladdin, and he provided the genie, I think, for the third film. But then he did a movie called Jack, which I talked to somebody about that. That was when he played a kid with a disorder, which makes him, instead of being a regular age as a kid, making him look like an adult, really like 12 years old or something. Which, I remember that movie got panned by the critics, because nobody's going to believe that Robin Williams, who was like in his 50s at that time, late 40s or early 50s, when he did that film. No one's going to believe like a 50-year-old guy is playing a 12-year-old. And that movie got panned. I think he also did one movie with Billy Crystal. I think like Father's Day. He did one called RV, which also got panned. A lot of the Robin Williams movies, even though he did a bunch of movies, a lot of his movie roles unfortunately got panned because the movies were bad. That's saying one complaint with Robin Williams' performances. One complaint that the story was terrible. It was an unbelievable story. But unfortunately, those good movies were like few and far between. Excuse me. Because how bad it was. Like Good Morning Vietnam, and then you had Dead Poets Society, and then of course 4 years later, then you had the next good movie, which was Mrs. Doubtfire, and then it took a long time from 1983 to 1998 when we did Good Will Hunting, and a lot of those movies in between got unfortunately panned by the critics. And I think he got like a couple of Razzie Awards for like the worst actor, or at least this movie got picked as the worst movie of the year because the movies were bad. Because it got panned so badly by the critics, which is unfortunate. But I think now more and more people are going to realize how good his roles were in these films. I don't think anybody ever complained about his performances. Like I said earlier, I don't think the critics really complain about his performances. They're just complaining about the storyline was bad, or the premise of this movie was bad. So that's why they give that lousy write-ups. But I think he was just as good in the dramatic role. He's one of the few actors who was just as good in the dramatic roles as he was in the comedy roles, or comedic roles. And there's very few actors out there, or actresses, who has that unique gift. And that's what Robin Williams has, the gift. It was like the line in the very first Spider-Man film, Tobey Maguire, was his gift and it was cursed at the same time. Because he, like I said, he suffered from depression for years. He had a cocaine problem. And as a matter of fact, during the time he was doing Mork and Mindy, and also probably during the movie Popeye, he was doing drugs, doing cocaine, and then he got cleaned himself up. He actually went cold turkey with the cocaine. After when John Belushi from Saturday Night Live died, he literally went cold turkey. And then he went from one drug to another with alcohol. And he was a drug, and he went to rehab a couple times, and cleaned himself up for 20 years, and then he fell off the wagon. And he tried to get back on in the last 8 years to try and get back on the wagon. And most recently, he went back after more than 30 years. He tried to go back to series television with the CBS show Crazy Ones, starring with Sarah Michelle Gellar from Buffy the Vampire Slayer and All My Children. But that show, I mean, I did watch the show. I wasn't watched by every episode, but that show was all that. I didn't think the show was all that great. But even though you have Robin Williams in it and Sarah Michelle Gellar, but after 1 year, CBS canceled the show. And that's when he went trying to go back into rehab, trying to control his depression. I guess like a month ago, but I guess apparently didn't work, obviously, because he killed himself last night. Which is a shame. It's a shame for anybody like me who grew up watching Robin Williams. And I literally grew up watching him, whether it being on television or in the movies. Like I said, I haven't seen every single one of his films. I'm sure there's somebody on like TCM, like Turner Classic Movies, or AMC, or before the week is out, or by next week, that someone's going to have a tribute to Robin Williams and showing at least most of his movies. You know that's going to happen. That's one thing that I don't like when somebody, like a huge star like Robin Williams, or maybe Gregory Peck, or Clark Gable, or Jimmy Stewart, whomever, the first thing they do is that they roll out every single one of their movies, and they do like a marathon of movies, or do like a whole weekend of them broadcasting every single one of their movies. And as a matter of fact, this one channel did that last night. I don't know how many people out there, and at least in the United States anyway, who has the channel MeTV. That's METV. Because last night they broadcast the Happy Days reruns during the week, and last night they were up to when Ron Howard and Donnie Most was off the show already. But last night they went back and they broadcast the episode with Robin Williams in it as Mork, and they broadcast an episode and says, "Hey, it's the other man. Hey, Joe, they're broadcasting the episode with Mork in it. They showing the episode with Robin Williams when they play Mork." And he turned on and he said, "Yeah, but now I have an episode. I can watch it anytime I want because it's on the 5th season of Happy Days." So now the 5th season of Happy Days, I don't know how well that DVD is selling. It's been out for almost 3 months now on the time of doing this video, and I don't know how well that particular DVD is selling, because I don't know how well DVDs are selling nowadays, but I'm sure that the 5th season of Happy Days is going to be selling like hotcakes, because it has the first episode with Robin Williams on a national stage and performing in Happy Days. And I don't know, I think the Mork and Mindy DVDs are on Mork and Mindy seasons are on DVD now, so I think those episodes are going to be selling like crazy, as well as every one of the movies. If I had to pick what movies that I want to have in my movie collection, for me it would definitely be Good Morning Vietnam and Mrs. Doubtfire. And I haven't decided on Global Hunting because Ben Affleck was involved in that. I don't like Ben Affleck because of his Orgo movie beat out Zero Dark 30 in the Oscars. Even though I still feel to this day that Zero Dark 30 should have won the Academy Award for instead of Orgo. But in terms of movies, I think if anybody in a movie fan, Robin Williams fan, pick those 3, and possibly even Popeye. As bad as Popeye was, it was really I think it was really his first movie was Popeye, and I'm surprised that not many people talk about that film, because I think now a lot of the critics like to forget that movie, because more people want to focus on the positive stuff, or the positive movies that he did in his career, which I can't say I blame it, because every time when somebody dies, no matter what the circumstances are, people want to focus on the positive, or positive movies that they did on television shows, whatever. But to gloss over the bad movies, it disgraces the memory of Robin Williams, and you don't talk about every single movie that he did, even the lousy ones, which I don't like when people gloss over stuff. It has to be positive, because he died under some circumstances. I mean, Robin Williams did not die of a heart attack. He did not die of cancer. He did not. I know it's going to be people going to say that I'm insensitive about it, but I'm being very sensitive. He didn't die of a heart attack. He didn't die of cancer. He didn't die because of a car accident like the guy who was in the Fast and Furious movies. He killed himself. He took an easy way out because he couldn't deal with his depression. That's all it was. And I know I'm probably going to get some flack for it, from the comment section below. I know I'm not going to get flack for it, but it's true. I mean, the guy killed himself, which is in a lot of ways a coward's way out of a situation. Another thing I'm being very sympathetic to Robin Williams, because, like I said, I do like him. I do like his movies. I do like his work in film and on television. But dying the way he did, kind in a way, especially when someone kills themselves, it's like takes away all of what they did in their lives. I mean, I'm sorry I have to say this, don't put a little reality in the situation here, but to say that, so I'm not saying you don't shoot on Robert Williams or anything like that because he died of suicide, because he killed himself. But if you really want to honor the guy, I suggest you get his movies and just focus on that. You're supposed to focus on everything he did, not just the positive stuff. I know people are trying to focus. I saw the news reports last night, and people are trying to say, "Hey, it's great that we focus on the positive stuff." But we also have to discuss what was really going on. Same thing. That's what I do. Is I look at everything the person did. Instead of going like halfway, just focus on the positive and not the negative. There was a line from an episode of Beverly Hills 90210, the original show, where there was an episode where a student who was in the original cast in the first season accidentally killed himself, and the David Silver character says, "It doesn't matter what you write in the newspaper, in the paper. It doesn't matter what you say about somebody when they're gone. What matters is how you treat them while they're still here." And maybe your people help Robert Williams out more. With this depression, maybe he will still be alive today. If people have helped out more. So that's my real man for Robert Williams. That's the problem. People reach down, people help people more. Maybe we wouldn't have situations like we had with Robert Williams yesterday. So maybe also my tribute to Robert Williams. Please click on the video, please rate it. Feel free to comment if you disagree with anything I've said. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video onto your respective Facebook pages. Thanks for watching, and catch